They don't want it. They don't want it. And there's going to be a consequence. There's going to be a consequence. There's going to be a consequence. I prophesied and I told y'all that after that shooting happened down there in Charleston, I told y'all that it was going to be copycats. I told you all over the country, when you turn on your television, you're going to see copycats. Mass shootings are going to become the norm. Y'all ain't saying nothing in here. God told me it's going to be copycats. Do you see it? It's happening now. Every time you turn on your television, there's a mass shooting. I just left Louisiana. I told Louisiana I saw a shooting. Look at what happened just now in Louisiana. There was another mass shooting then in Shreveport. God spoke to me and said, police officers, some of them are going to regret the day they became a police officer, because it's getting ready to get so bad that police officers are going to be dying in the streets. God spoke to me the other day and said there are gangs. Now listen to me. You know, years ago we had the Bloods and the Crips. You understand? You don't really hear about gangs now like you used to. But God spoke to me and said gangs, they're going to make a part of their initiation killing police officers. God spoke to me and said gangs are going to say, if you want to be in this gang, you got to kill this police officer. God told me that the day is going to come in America where walking around with bulletproof vests are going to be a fashion statement. They're going to be selling bulletproof vests in places like Walmart and JCPenney. But let me tell you something. You ain't got to hear what I'm saying. I don't care what kind of bulletproof vest you got. I don't care how much protection you got. If you don't have the glory, you about to be in trouble. Your only defense is going to be the glory of God. Isaiah chapter 4 verse 5 said, and his glory shall be your defense. There's some demons about to hit America that's going to bring chaos. But I read a scripture that says, if God be for me, who can be against me?
But we will, of course, start with more breaking news of that mass shooting. Another shooting in America, another community shattered, and more young lives senselessly taken. It happened on the campus of a small community college in Roseburg, Oregon. A lone shooter opening fire, killing and injuring so many before being confronted and taken down by police. This evening,
Tragedy in Colorado tonight, as we're learning 3 people, including a police officer, are dead. That's after a 4-hour standoff with a man who opened fire at a Planned Parenthood clinic. Leanne Gregg brings us the latest now from.
So this originally started off at 11 o'clock this morning, late this morning, early afternoon. We received a call here at the Inland Regional Center, 1400 block of South Waterman, of a shooting. It was quickly apparent that we had what amounted to an active shooter situation. There was a massive law enforcement response that initially was officers from our department that responded, and then very quickly, as word spread through the region, we had a massive mutual aid response from virtually every law enforcement agency in the immediate area, to include the Sheriff's Department, Colton Police Department, Fontana Police Department, the California Highway Patrol, Probation Department, Parole. A number of agencies responded. What we have so far is information that up to 3 people had entered the building and had opened fire on people inside of the building. We do have some preliminary numbers of upwards of 14 people that are dead and upwards of 14 people that are injured. We think those are pretty reliable, but keep in mind those are potentially...
I don't think anybody really knew what was going on until they saw people on the ground bleeding and heard people screaming and heard the commotion, because you didn't know when you're in a bar like that, you really think that it's music.
Traumatized and injured clubbers were helped from the scene and taken to hospital for treatment. One mother received texts from her son who said they were trapped in the toilets and they feared they were going to die. Another mother was distraught trying to find out if her son was still alive.
I don't know where my son is. No one can tell me where my son is. If he's been shot, if he's dead, no one knows. But they told me there are fatalities.
Dozens of emergency vehicles attended outside, including the city's bomb squad and hazardous material team. Immediately following the attack, the gunman is reported to have barricaded himself into the club and taken hostages. The police performed a controlled explosion outside to distract him before he was shot dead. At a news conference, they said he appeared to be armed with an assault-type rifle, a handgun, and some sort of device.
Do we consider this an act of terrorism? Absolutely. We are investigating this from all parties' perspective as an act of terrorism. Anytime that we have potentially dozens of victims in any of our communities, then I think we can qualify that as a terrorist activity.
A major investigation is now being undertaken to determine the gunman's motives and whether he was acting alone.
Memory, 11 officers shot, 5 of them killed. A tense standoff with one of the suspects in that deadly ambush on Dallas police reportedly ended around 2:30 this morning local time. Police tell our affiliate in Dallas that the suspect has been, quote, neutralized. The police chief says that suspect was barricaded inside a parking garage, exchanging gunfire with officers from an elevated position. We don't know if he was shot by police or if he took his own life. Here's a bit of what officers were dealing with.
News. 3 police officers have been confirmed dead after a shooting in the U.S. city of Baton Rouge, that's in Louisiana. The incident happened early on Sunday, not far from a local police headquarters. It was when a group of gunmen opened fire on officers. The number of those injured is still unclear, with reports suggesting a total of 7 officers were hit. One of the shooters has been killed, and 2 others are believed to be at large, according to the city's sheriff's office. Baton Rouge is...
Authorities said a police officer who was ambushed by a motorist Friday was in critical but stable condition after being shot in a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. Law enforcement officials said a Baldwin Police Department officer was shot in the neck by 31-year-old Antonio Taylor. Taylor was pulled over for speeding. The unidentified officer was walking toward his vehicle when Taylor stepped out of his car and fired 3 shots to his back. One of them struck the officer. Chief John Belmar of the St. Louis County Police Department said, "It's a sad day for law enforcement indeed." According to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Taylor was charged with first-degree assault of a law enforcement officer, armed criminal action,